Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. And we move into October of 1984 here on Pro Wrestling Logic. And good action this week. El Diablo and George Weingroff kick off a very heavy first run program. Weingroff, a bit of a journeyman star who has been here, good with technical wrestling, but not really ever figured into the main event here in World Class. Regardless, he goes through a good bit of action and is always a hair or two away from doing something big. Big back body drop from him in the early stages of things. And then El Diablo, a masked wrestler, which seems that World Class has a lot of. Well, maybe not a lot, but a good number anyway. Seems like every 6 months to a year they have a new masked talent in for a little while, and that's a good thing to do. But Diablo does well here. He manages to uh, hang with his adversary on the mat, lots of floatovers and the like. Near fall off a vertical suplex by Weingroff. Weingroff, though, does not get the job done quickly. Then we see some submission action in an abdominal stretch style by El Diablo. El Diablo, of course, the devil. So I don't know if Diablo is a regular talent pulling double duty, or if this is actually maybe a talent from across the border. Not quite sure who played the role here in 1984, but a good thing nonetheless. Attempted roll up by Weingroff, who gets charged into the corner. Bombs away style second rope maneuver by Diablo, who gains a victory, oddly enough. And I say oddly enough because it's rare to see a masked guy get a victory right off the bat. Then we move in what is a very promo heavy show, we move into a promo. Jake Roberts and Gino Hernandez with the benefit of Andrea, otherwise known as Nicola Roberts, for Hernandez. Roberts and Hernandez agree that they don't necessarily like each other, but they don't have to be two-thirds of the six-man tag team champions. They admit they respect each other's cunningness, they respect each other's ability to gain attention, but they don't have to be personal friends. Jake Roberts excited about getting his hands on a Von Erich finally. Roberts chimes in with the fact that she wants to get rid of Stella Mae French once and for all. Then we move into what in hindsight ends up being a impactful interview. Chris Adams, who's been around for quite a while, discusses the benefit of being in association with Gary Hart. This is a very strong association between the two and also beneficial. Adams says that he gives Hart a lot of credit for his recent winning streak. He deserves to be in the position he's in, but Hart is a major contributing factor to it, and he's happy with that. And he basically says he's teaming up with a friend, Kevin Von Erich, later against Gino Hernandez, who he does not like, Jake Roberts, who he does not like, and he's looking forward to that as well. We then go to a kind of an odd matchup, odd pairing. Tony Torres, who's been here before, versus Buck Zumhoff. Obviously, I've mentioned before, I'm not a fan of Zumhoff. Research on Wikipedia and other places if you want to find out more about that. I won't dignify his reprehensible human actions with a lot of attention. But anyway, we'll give him credit. He is a good babyface. He primarily in the AWA. And does well here. Kind of cartwheels out of a kickoff. Torres we have seen before, although not in a main spot. I assume this match primarily to be a highlight for Zumhoff. However, lots of leg holes from Torres, and it takes Zumhoff a bit to kick off. He does so rather abruptly, although goes back and forth on whether he wants to sell the leg or not, which is kind of foolish when he's spent the majority of the match on his back as it relates to being in submission holds and the like. He does float over into a double crab, kick off, and then lands on his feet and comes back with a drop kick. So I mean, he like him or not as a person, he's a good babyface in the role here, and he is certainly a guy who, manages to get a crowd reaction. Torres bails him out of the corner, goes for a quick cover. I actually thought they were going for a time limit draw here because they go close to 10 minutes at least. Big body slam by Zumhoff. Zumhoff does manage to get a victory, though, with the outside in sunset flip. Then we move to our main event, probably one of the most impactful of at least the second half of '84, which it seems that they do major angles about every 6 months here in World Class. Stella Mae French, along with uh, Chris Adams and Kevin Von Erich, against Gino Hernandez with Jake Roberts and Nicola Roberts, otherwise known as Baby Doll. They are given a good bit of time here, probably about 10, 12 minutes to play this out. The ladies want to go at each other. They are blocked from doing so. Um, and nothing really gets settled there, although we do, for Thanksgiving Star Wars, get to see them actually go at each other. So there is a payoff coming there within a month, month and a half or so. Um, we see Adams managed to be, so far a decent friend to his adversaries here. Well, eventual adversaries, but we'll get there before the end of the match is through. Um, Hernandez takes the early part of the match. Kevin rolls through, beautiful drop kick by Kevin. Many people still frustrated with Gino having the Texas and America's titles for the majority of his stay in the area. And so we kind of move through there. I don't know if Kevin dyed his hair or what's going on, but he looks different to me somehow. Anyway, we we see Jake Roberts get in there finally. Uh, Adams and Roberts go heads up with each other. Big body slam there, knee drop and quick attempted cover. Roberts slinks to the outside. I mean, he literally backs out of the ring. I love Jake Roberts with body language. I think every wrestler who wants to be something other than a cookie cutter who can do flips needs to watch Jake Roberts' movement in the ring. So much can be learned from even watching 5 matches of his. Anyway, Von Erich and Adams have control for a good bit of time. Roberts does slow it down with a chin lock and holds him there for a while. Drop kicks by Von Erich and big back body drop by Chris Adams coming in, and ultimately, I mean, you get what you get as far as that goes, um, and then match goes a little bit haywire. We do see I guess a bit of a uh, hold down and shove off there. Um, there's a lot of anger, a lot of confusion, and I guess manipulation all the way around. Um, Gary Hart holds his own, uh, watches his own man kind of clean house a bit, and um, he's taken major stock of Hernandez. Goes through the ropes to the outside. Hernandez sidesteps Chris Adams. The match itself has kind of been surprisingly good for Adams and partner. And then we see a roll through 1, 2, 3 count, and Hernandez and Roberts get a victory. Anger at Stella Mae French there, and there's some shoving going on there. Kevin comes in on that. Gary Hart comes in on that. There's talk, and then Kevin kind of defends the lady as you would expect a babyface to do. There's a bit of a back off there, and Then we see a strike by Kevin Von Erich to Gary Hart, and the turn of Chris Adams is completed. Adams with a super kick right under the chin of Kevin Von Erich, and now Roberts holding him and going to town on him. There seems to be an alliance of sorts, at least temporarily. Adams, Roberts, and Hernandez. And Gary Hart basically says, "We're out of here," and that is it. So what a major beatdown for Kevin Von Erich to be had. We close with David Manning explaining that it is the decision that Gary Hart made the decision that Chris Adams should leave Kevin Von Erich. Von Erich laid out with a DDT. Manning is confused by the whole thing, and many fans in the area probably were too. But anyway, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.